All right, Jason, it's July, so what does that mean?
Summer of Sam, baby.
Hey everybody, Brian Franz here with Jason Cerrano. This is part 2 of our 4-part series. If you watched part 1, it was Jason and I talking about some SAM users, fire truck trends, things like that, things that are going on that we see with SAM. This part is SAM operations. So we got a truck, we got a crew of people in the truck, we're gonna pull up, we got water on the truck obviously with SAM, but we're gonna establish a hydrant. We're just gonna go through kind of what's going on with SAM. What we're trying to accomplish is showing everybody just how simple it is and how much easier it makes the fireground scene at the time, right? So we're gonna go through that and give you guys a really good idea of just what's going on with SAM operations. So you'll see the truck pulling up here in a couple minutes. We got an engineer, basically a captain and a back step. The engineer's gonna get out, he'll establish a water supply, we'll get water flowing right away, and then we've got the back step and the captain who are flowing water, right? So Jay, in this scenario, let's talk about this for just a second. So what would these guys be doing right as soon as they get out of the truck? You're gonna put in pump, traditional ops, what are they doing?
So traditionally, you would have to get out and open your tank to pump and recirc right away. That's the operator's first job. So with the SAM system, he's put it in pump gear. You can hear things change over. For the operator, the tank to pump and the recirc is already open. So now he can be a little more focused on the crew and what needs to happen next. So he's ready to charge the line. So on the screen, you see the 4 circles down at the bottom. Those all represent presets. Usually those are gonna be your crosslays or your pre-connects. So once they get the hose deployed, he's gonna grab his first pre-connect. All he has to do is drag the circle up.
Hose charging.
So in normal operations, you'd have to run your governor up and manage the valves. So he just charged both lines there at 2 different pressures. So with the automation, the operator just turns each line on. The truck manages the pressure governor and the valves independently. And that's how it allows them to just that easily manage 2 lines at 2 different pressures.
Now the other beauty of this that I think is key at this moment, Jay, so he's got them set at 2 different PSIs, right? Mm-hmm. So traditionally what you would be doing in this scenario is you're closing back one of the discharges, right? You're adjusting the pressure governor. So that way you got 100 PSI on one line and then 75 PSI on the other. Notice the pump operator, he didn't do anything, right? All he did was swipe them up. So SAM, so tell everybody, like, how does that work? SAM accounts, does it close the valve? It didn't change the engine RPMs necessarily, right?
Yeah, so, you know, as a pump operator, you would traditionally just run it to the higher pressure and then manage the lower pressure valve. You would have to do the gating yourself. So SAM, what's cool about SAM, and this really helps people learn the system faster, is it thinks like an operator does. So SAM just takes the same steps. So when Steve charged the higher line, SAM said, I need the governor at the higher pressure, and then it's managing the valve independently to the discharge. When he charges the second line at a lower pressure, SAM says, hey, I don't need to run the governor up anymore, but what I do need to do is gate that second valve.
Absolutely.
That things stay the same.
And think about this scenario right here. So our pump operator, he went over to the hydrant. He's establishing the water supply on his own while we got 2 people flowing water here. Now this is a CAF's truck. There's some foam inside of it. We're not showing CAFs or any of that, purely the SAM ops portion of it, okay? But traditionally, the pump operator would be kind of stuck at the panel, right? That's the key here, is that they're stuck saying, I gotta make sure that whenever the interior crews are inside or exterior crews, all the things that they're doing, I'm taking care of them. This gives them the ability in order to do 2 things at once, more or less, okay? So we're letting the water kind of drum down here as we go. We're just flowing water, all right? The other neat thing about this, let's go on this side. So pump operations is on the driver's side. Well, with SAM, you also get a second screen. So now I can do the exact same things over there from this screen as well. Adding a line, changing the pre-connects, all of those features. It's all the same thing, 2 screens in it. There's a wireless tablet.
So wait till
you can get a tablet. We see a lot of people, obviously, that do the second screen. So now, it doesn't matter what side I park on, I can operate SAM, okay? Another really cool,
so we
unique thing. So
we won't let you
go around here to the other side.
Caution, low tank water.
So that indicator is actually a cool feature. When I first was developing the SAM system, I was worried if we beeped and buzzed too much or whatever, because we don't like a bunch of extra noise on the fire ground. But what the firefighters on the prototype told me was they loved the low hydrant indication, or the low tank water indication, because you're out working and every fire is a little different. When you get that indication, you know you need to hurry up to the secondary water source. So what we just kind of missed is Steve swiped the hydrant, and now that he's hit it, if you notice, it just gave us the hydrant established indication. So with SAM, you can actually tell it to look for water from a hydrant. So then when you go out and do the work, once the water hits the truck, it actually makes the switch for you. So now you can see we have our intake pressure coming in, and without Steve being here, it's rebalanced the hand lines for the hand line operators.
Now, Jay, talk about one more thing. Automatically, we were low on truck water, so automatically it starts opening up the tank recirc, right? And refills the booster tank right away?
Yeah. So,
how does that part work? Because traditionally, I asked you a question, I cut you off, but traditionally, you would be doing all that manually, right? So you're trying to gate it back. You don't want to open it too much because it's going to give too much pressure in the booster tank. All those features, SAM knocks that.
Correct. So it's amazing. A lot of people actually have issues when they go to do their tank fill. So you hit a hydrant, and even actually on recirc, when you go to tank to pump, people will open the tank fill too much, right?
Sure.
It's shocking how much water a tank fill valve can move.
Right.
So you can actually cavitate your tank to pump, so on and so forth. So we do the cooling for you, so that's not an issue. But then when you hit the hydrant, what Brian's alluding to is that normally your pump operator has to come back here, open the tank fill a little more, fill the tank, but when you do that, you're affecting the pressures on the hand lines, so you have to keep balancing the hand lines too. And so what happens here is, since the hand lines are always independently managing pressure, it doesn't matter what's going on at the hydrant, it doesn't matter if we're filling the tank or not. SAM fills the tank for you. When it's full, it shuts the tank fill off. Right. And this is a really common feature since we're in Missouri and Illinois and Indiana, all these areas, we get freezing temperatures.
Yeah.
And it's common. Like, you talk to any firefighter, like, how many times on the fire ground in the winter do you spill water all over around the truck because you overfill the tank? That's just what we do. So with this, it's nice. You don't have to be there. So when it's full, it shuts. No water gets spilled on the ground. No frozen conditions around your toolboxes, so on and so forth.
Now let's take that same thing. We're talking about freezing conditions. Let's say it's 150 degrees outside, right?
Yeah.
It's hot as hell outside. In that scenario, most of the time you got to get out and you're watching the tank recirc, right? So you're opening the recirc, you're doing all those things. It's automatically opening. When you put it in pump, tank to pump opens, tank recirc automatically opens.
Correct.
So we're moving water, not heating the impeller.
Yeah, it's actually really cool. So on the SAM Governor, on the screen right here, this is really unique to the industry, and you can actually see your gearbox temperature, and we show you, oh, I'm sorry, that's, gearbox temperature here, and then this is, that's a CAPS compressor, so they have two gearbox temperatures.
Oh yeah, Jay, I should have told you that. Sorry, man.
Yeah, thanks. No, it's all good. And then you have your pump temperature down here. So I can actually see the water temperature in my pump. So whether it's the winter time or the summertime, operators have a live indication of what's really going on with their pump. So every other truck in the fire industry, the best it can do is spit water out on the ground once it's already overheating. So we're actually going to manage that process, keep the pump cool, you can see your gearbox, see how it's doing. And
that's right. When it gets to a certain temp is whenever it actually opens it, right?
Well, so and when you first put it in pump gear, we'll do recirc no matter what. Just keep water moving, and we do a small recirc. If while you're on tank water and you're recirculating, you're running the pump at higher engine speeds, you will start to build heat in the pump. Then we'll open the tank fill and cool it even more.
Yeah.
Then on hydrant, when you're on hydrant, sometimes we don't open our bales. We forget to open our bales in the fire. SAM will actually crack the tank fill for you and force water through the pump to keep your pump protected.
And do it.
And there's more good news to that. Because we're doing all this automation, actually fire pumps are built to last almost the life cycle of 2 trucks. We can't warranty them that long because so much stuff happens in the industry. We can't protect ourselves from all the mispumping, the cavitation, the overheating, the things that are always happening on the fire grounds, because human beings just aren't perfect. We've all made the mistakes.
Yeah.
With the SAM system, because of the automation, they're backing up the pumps and gearboxes with a 10-year parts and labor warranty.
That's right. That's why that warranty is so awesome, and because of the built-in anodes, right? Telling you about the anodes.
Yeah, we also have anodes with all the SAM systems. Anodes are on the corrosion side, so
right.
And this is a good thing to know on any fire truck. Anodes are like the sacrificial lambs for rust. So a lot of fire trucks, people don't put those on there. They're actually a very cheap add-on. The thing with anodes is you can't tell when they get eaten up over time. So the only way to check an anode would be to pull it out, look at the anode. Is there any left? You know, and so with these, we can actually we can see the life cycle of our anodes here. So we do give indication that they would need to be changed, and that keeps all the rust out of your pump for the most part.
So all that technology that everybody says that they don't want is what gives you the longer warranty and helps protect the truck. So again, the SAM portion of it is helping firefighters on the scene, and the SAM portion of it is also helping the pump.
It's protecting the vehicle and the pump.
So let's get our pump operator in here. Let's close these down just a little bit. You'll be able to see Steve can take it down from 100 to 80 PSI, and then your 2.5, he can do that as well. So right here, he's gonna click it, drop it down to 80, hit yes, and then boom, he's changing that one. And then the same thing on the 2.5, he can drop that one down to 50 PSI and show the exact same thing.
Yeah, and this is a nice feature. So if you think about on the fire ground, we usually get up and try to do the same things on every single fire, so we have those presets, right? So you get to the fire, it's swipe a preset, swipe a preset, swipe a hydrant, but we don't do the same thing every time, or like you're saying, like later on in a fire, you may not need all the pressure.
Right.
So that just shows you can change to any pressure you want, up or down.
Up or down. Mm-hmm. So in this scenario, we can add more discharges. All you're doing is swiping lines. You'll see just as simply. So Steve, let's go ahead and close them off. So just like that, we've closed them off. So now, as far as getting the truck back in doing other things, it's just that simple. And in this scenario, the booster tank, does the booster tank continue filling, Jay, right away, or how does that work?
It's still filling. It'll fill till it's full. And this is the other thing, we fill pretty slowly. So if you think about the fire ground, this is actually kind of a joke I make with pump operators. So I tell them, like, listen, you're telling yourself you don't want to be at the panel any more than you have to, right? So we'll be at the firehouse, and I'll ask them, I go, have you ever heard a pump operator say after a fire, hey, did y'all see me fill the tank? That was awesome. Right? Did you see me out there doing it? I was filling that tank. Like, they actually don't, and that's why we have a lot of tank fill errors, because they're in a hurry. It feels extra. It's a waste of time. You're not doing anything stressful or technical on a fire ground when you're filling the tank. Right. So a lot of times we pull it too much, we're in a hurry, we fill it too fast, we break baffles, we drop pressures in the manifolds, and then we leave it, and then it blows water all over the ground in the wintertime. So the point is, you don't need to be there to do that.
Right. And simplicity, right? It's very simple. You just saw it's very easy to operate, very easy whether you're adding discharges onto it. We showed the 4 pre-connects. Let's show them another thing. So the 4 at the bottom are quick, get water out, right?
Yep.
But I need another 2, or I want to flow the LDH, Jason. What do I do at this moment? How do I get water out of the LDH?
Yeah, if you're not one of the first 4 lines that you normally use on a fire, you can hit the center button and you can see all your discharges. So this truck has 8 discharges. So we could hit a rear LDH, we could run our deck gun. So if I wanted to hit the deck gun, I can go here. It has a preset, I could drag it in, or if I wanted to, I could run the pressure up and hit yes to pump it. That's the other thing about SAM. When we do training with it, we let people know if you drag something to a target across the screen, so if you drag something from here to here, action will happen.
Yeah.
If you're tapping around, let's say I tap right here, it'll ask me, do I want to do this, yes or no? So if you tap, you'll have to hit a yes or no. If you drag, it happens instantly.
There you go. So the 4 in the bottom right, I kind of tell everybody, that's like your radio presets, right? Those are your favorite stations that you want to go to. And then the push to pump would be your LDH, maybe your deck gun, and those are all customizable.
Yeah, you get to pick your first 4 lines that you think you'll use the most, you can set those up to the front.
Do whatever you want it to be, all right? Which is really neat, So that's SAM Hydrant Ops. Pretty simple, we think, right? Pretty self-explanatory. Like I said in our part 1 video, we've had people who've never pumped a fire truck in their life who've gone up here and gotten water out of the truck. So pretty simple. If you have any comments or questions or anything, you can put that in Facebook, YouTube, all those things. We'll try to answer them as we're going to make this informative. So stay tuned for part 3. We're going to set up a folding tank. We're going to draft. We're going to do the same scenarios. Only, in my opinion, this may be for those city departments. Now we're going to set it up for the rule application, all right? So stay tuned. Part 3, Brian and Jason with IDEX.